What's going on YouTube? This is AK and you're watching Vlogmore, and today I have a very special handgun that I want to cover. It's special because for the older generation who are watching this video, it's going to be something that's very nostalgic to you. Maybe your dads or granddads owned one, and if you are of the younger generation, then it'll be kind of like a relic or retro. Now, I'm not going too far back, but this is definitely something that's pre-Glock 26. So what handgun am I going to go over today? Well, it's a very special one because it's chambered in a caliber that has the word special in it, okay? And I'm pretty sure for you gun enthusiasts, you already know what I'm going to say, and that is 38 Special Revolver. A lot of you younger viewers will probably never fathom owning one of these, but man, is this thing awesome. And for those of you who really want something practical that works, this is probably for you. So let's get into it. Now, generally when people tend to bring up, the history of revolvers, a lot of them will tell you that Samuel Colt, is the creator of the revolver. But I'm going to go even further back than that. Actually, the first known recording of a revolving projectile-styled weapon was created by the Chinese, which was called a pole gun. And it was a revolving, basically, spear gun that didn't have any accuracy whatsoever, but was designed to just shoot spears out into large groups of invading forces. And so that was like the earliest known type of revolving weapon that we know of. Okay, well, there goes the Chinese again being innovative. If you haven't seen my Mac 90 video, you might want to go check that out, because that's also a Chinese AK-47, which was basically said to improve the Russian AK. But the Chinese did create that first style of a revolving projectile weapon. Okay, now sources say that the first real example of a modern styled revolving weapon that shot bullets, okay, like a first true revolver, was patented by I believe his name is James Puckle, if I'm saying his last name correctly, in 1718. And then from there it began to evolve. Different individuals try to improve upon it until finally it landed on Samuel Colt's doorstep, to where he created what we know as like the 6-shot revolver, which was revolutionary. You could hold it in your hand, and I think that's pretty cool. So that's basically a brief description of from where it first started up until Sam Colt got a hold of the revolving projectile weapon idea, and then we have what we have today, which is modern day revolvers. Okay, and like I said, this in particular is the ultralight, the Taurus ultralight. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool that it came such a long way, this particular design, and is still used in households to this day. Now, Taurus is one of those manufacturers that used to have a bad reputation back in the day for not making the best handguns, but I think they've really turned themselves around over the past decade. Matter of fact, whenever so Taurus makes a M9 Beretta styled gun. I believe it's called like the PT92, I want to say is what it's called, and it's basically a Beretta lookalike. But here's the fun fact: Beretta actually had a factory in Brazil, which is where Taurus comes from, and they had a plan to basically produce Beretta firearms there, but they ended up packing up and they left. And what they didn't pack is all the schematics for how to make Beretta M9s and a whole other list of handguns. So Taurus had the schematics, had the tooling, and I think that once they started to produce their own version of the M9 and other handguns, the quality really went up. And so now they're a very reputable manufacturer of handguns and firearms. And I know people that actually prefer the PT92 Taurus style Beretta over the actual M9, because you're going to pay at least $300 less, $300 to $400 less for one of those than you would a Beretta M9. as far as the revolvers are concerned, I mean, you got the Judge, which is a super popular revolver. You know, you got a whole lot of different, you know, revolvers that Taurus makes that are really quality. The Tracker, I used to own one of those, loved it. And yeah, the Model 85 ultralight. So this gun is awesome, and I'm going to give you some reasons why it would be good to own one of these as opposed to a semi-automatic. One of the reasons why is, let's just keep it real, people, simplicity, right? You know, I mean, we live in an age now where things are real tactical. Everything's tactical. That's all you see on YouTube. Tactical, tactical, tactical. And I'm totally cool with that because that's what I'm into also. But I'm also able to think diversely, right? Not everything needs to be tactical. Sometimes, you know, you can just have a weapon just for defense sake, right? You know, that's easy and simple. The revolver doesn't have a magazine release, nor does it have a magazine. So you don't have to worry about accidentally hitting the magazine release button, your magazine falling out when you have a life and death situation going on. You don't have to worry about that. Once you got the cylinder loaded, you're good to go. All you gotta do is pull the trigger, okay? What I also like about this particular revolver and a lot of others is with the double action pull, I'm gonna be honest, if you don't pull it with conviction, it's very difficult to pull this trigger. So it kind of offers you a safety element if you've got children in the house, because it's gonna be very difficult for a child to pull this trigger effectively. I've taken women to the range with this particular handgun, and they have not, a lot of them have not been able to pull the trigger on this, like even in just dry firing exercises, right? Yeah, it's easy for them to do it when it's single action, but double action is very difficult, and it's not easy to pull the hammer back. You know, this is like a grown people's gun, is what I like to call it, okay? This is a grown folks gun. You know, this is what your granddad had in his, you know, on his nightstand, or, you know, what your dad had on his nightstand that, you know, he used and he knew how to use it. And it would have been a very effective weapon for him, you know, to defend his family with. So these are really simple but good reasons why you should own one. No magazine release, no magazine to fall out, and, you know, has that child safety measure of having a hard trigger to pull. You know, so I mean, and they are inherently reliable when you practice enough with them. Okay, so these are 3 reasons I think why you should own one. Now, as far as affordability, Taurus and I believe not Chippewa, Charter Arms, they make pretty affordable revolvers. The Model 85 being the most affordable of the Taurus revolvers that I've seen. So if you want something simple, you know, and you like the style of this particular revolver, you like the snub nose, then I would think that this would be the perfect option for you, okay? So, and you know, if you want to throw it in a bug out bag and, you know, hit the road with 2 boxes of ammunition and just have something for a just in case scenario, this would be perfect. You guys got to remember that pre-Glock 26, the majority of Americans had revolvers. A lot of them had, you know, 38 specials. Remember, law enforcement had this for a very long time. Detectives had these for a very long time. Your average citizens carried these for, I mean, many years before we started to make carrying semi-automatic weapons a thing. So just remember that, okay? And remember, at those times in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was a lot more dangerous America than it is today in terms of, you know, crime rates across the different cities across the nation. And we did just fine with revolvers. So with that said, if we could survive the 70s and 80s with 38 special revolvers, I'm pretty sure you can do just fine with one now. And remember, as I've said before, the chances of you getting into a civilian involved shooting is very low, very minuscule. So if you want something that is just going to serve as a practical purpose, okay, whether you're in your home, even though it does have a low capacity, you know, or whether you're carrying, remember, once you pull that trigger, the bad guy's going to get the gist, whether you have 10 rounds or whether you have 2 rounds. They're going to know that you are armed. And with a 5-shot revolver, I just don't think you can go wrong, especially one that you've trained and you've practiced with, okay? So this is basically a recap of this handgun. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and ask in the comment section below, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Peace.